Hello and welcome back to Love Letters to Lois by Art. This is a true story of love letters written by Art, my grandfather, to Lois, my grandmother, back in 1944 when he was serving as a United States Marine during World War II. Today's letter was written on Tuesday, June 20th, 1944, and it begins. Dearest one, feel much better today after the night's sleep I had. That is, physically, not mentally. This morning, while teaching class, your beautiful face was constantly in front of me. The words I spoke were from practice. The class probably wondered whom I was speaking to. Yesterday, when I came in from the barracks, the fellows all thought I was married. A big grin on my face and eyes just a-shining. Of course, I told them all about the entire weekend, except for what is going to remain between the two of us. Usually, when a fellow talks about his girl being so sweet and clean, there are a number of comments to the contrary. But darling, when I showed them your picture, they agreed I was a pretty lucky guy. Also told them about our drinking promise, and I got some kidding about that as they don't think I'll last at it, but we'll see. We'll tell you each day, and so far, I'm a good boy. I sent the bracelet back first thing this morning, so I'll get it back so very soon. Darling, that was the best present I've ever received. I showed the boys it too, and they all thought it was really neat. Yes, sir, my little girl sure can't be beat. Honey, as to the serial number and the United States Marine Corps initials, I'll leave it up to you. The way we agreed on would be okay, but I was wondering how it would look if it had the United States Marine Corps initials on top and my serial number below. No, darling, it's entirely up to you as it was your present. Besides, your taste is taps. And remember, your name goes on the back. That is the most important part anyway, as far as I'm concerned. Honey, I hope you don't think I'm being selfish making you do all that. But Lois, it is a lifetime present, and it is something that I will always have from you. Lois, no trouble came from it at all. In fact, very few people even knew I was gone. Not many people know me anyway, which is sometimes a pretty good thing. That telephone call you sent down came to this barracks as the fellows told me somebody from Washington was calling me. It still thrills me to think of the way things turned out. That last Monday's letter you sent was something. On the order I sent you and then walking in on your place was sort of a climax. My heart was pounding so hard when I knocked on the door I could hardly think. I knew I'd be speechless when we saw each other again. You will never know my true feelings when I saw you again. It was something like flying on the clouds. You'll never know how much I love you. Sing it, pretty Lois. There isn't any news as to when we'll be leaving, not for a while at any rate. Hope I never leave, but if we do need to go to Cherry Point, we'll still see each other. Already found out my train connections to Washington from there. Get a train at Rocky Mount, and it takes 8 hours to get to Washington. Not bad, huh? Not only that, but Cherry Point, we can get lots of plane rides. Starting next month, we get flight orders, and that means we have to fly at least 4 hours a month. Pay goes up to $150, and that should help matters considerably. My clothes from Norfolk have not come as of yet, but they say they should be here today. Better be, or yours truly is going to get riled up. Wash some clothes this afternoon, and how I dislike it. Has to be done, though, so just grin and bear it for a while. Hope those pictures we took came out okay, as I am dying to see them. And darling, make sure the whole set comes down here. Should fix up my wallet really swell. Honey, I'm going to tell you something now. And please don't think I'm being conceited, as it is far from the truth. Thought maybe you would like to know, as I already told you something about Bam. After finishing your letter last night, that Bam who wanted to marry me called me up and wanted to see me. So I put a stop to it in one big hurry. Told her I was married in Washington on the weekend. Bang went the receiver, and that is that. So how did the office go the next day? Were you very tired, darling, at work? I suppose everybody saw the ring and the comments flew around the office. Has Alice said anything else to you about the two of us? Not that it matters, honey. It's simply a matter of interest. Give the girls my regards. Sorry I forgot to say goodbye to them. My little girl just had my mind in a whirl. That rhymes, doesn't it? Well, my love, I must write home now. Curious as to what they say. Will send you their letter as soon as I get it. That's how I'm sure it will be good. Have I told you yet in this letter that I love you? Well, I do, darling. I love you, and I love you, and I love you. Bye, honey. Should hear from you tomorrow. Your lovesick honey, Art. XXXXX. Well, I continue to be moved by how deeply Art feels everything. I'm also impressed that he was able to teach a class while romancing about Lois's face. And when he described that heart pounding, I know what that feels like. He also attempts to describe the feeling when he finally sees Lois again as being something like being in the clouds, just heavenly. I remember being around my grandfather when he would feel emotion, and you knew he was feeling it very deeply. What a lucky woman Lois was to have a man love her that deeply. I also can picture Lois singing that song that Art references. She absolutely loved music. I can still recall her voice now singing songs while she played her accordion or her piano or her electric keyboard. I researched that song, You'll Never Know How Much I Love You, from the 40s, and it came from a movie called The Shape of Water. The film became an anthem because of all of the separated couples in the war. So there's a question as to whether Art will remain in Edenton, North Carolina, or if he will move along to Cherry Point, North Carolina. I may have 2 of these places to add to my bucket list, as my plan is to revisit all of the places that come up in these letters. And if future train rides come up in the letters, I'm going to take myself a train ride as well. Lastly, I was a wee bit disappointed to see that dishonesty come up in this letter. Art says to this band person that he had been married on the weekend, when in fact he's only been engaged. However, I'm going to cut him some slack for a couple of reasons. I highly respect the fact that he wanted to shut this door right away. This is one of those examples where we fool ourselves into thinking dishonesty is good if used for good purposes. If he had only said he had become engaged to this band person, and this band person had sort of an aggressive personality type, she quite possibly would have thought there was still an open door, one that he wanted to make sure did not exist. And I respect that he told Lois. Well, that's all for letter 18. Until next week, we have many, many more letters to go now that he's in North Carolina. Lots more letters.